Good morning, YouTube. All right, we got another semen retention video coming at you. I want to make this one about going your own way, not following the crowd, and how semen retention helps with that. So I guess there was there's a big deal a few days ago. Somebody got shot protesting an ICE something or other. I haven't seen all the footage. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm not going to pretend I know what happened, but I've heard a lot of speculation. He had a gun, he had 2 clips, and some people say, oh, they took the gun away before it happened. I don't know exactly what happened over there. I do know the old what's the old cliche? F around and find out. You don't want to. I don't want to get too political. What I want to talk about is thinking for ourselves, going our own way, not just going along with whatever the crowd says. Like the Clown News Network spins things a certain way. I thought everybody lost faith in that news station a long time ago with COVID and all that junk that happened. But I guess it's still on TV. I see people watching it, and in my opinion, it's definitely spun. Probably Fox News. It's probably all spun. It's probably owned by the same people. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to say is to not get caught up in the bandwagon fallacy in this and all the other examples that we could name. Just because everybody says things are a certain way and everybody's screaming it and throwing riots and things like this doesn't mean that that's actually the truth. And I'm not saying it's not the truth. I'm just saying that doesn't mean that it's true just because everybody thinks that, or most of the people around you, or all the television that you're watching says a certain thing. It doesn't mean it's true. If you've never heard of Joseph Goebbels, everybody always cites that guy. He was the father of propaganda. He said if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, people will believe it is true. But what I'm advocating is to not just believe something's true because you keep hearing it over and over again from all these people that you think are authorities over us. We need to think for ourselves, and in context of semen retention, I think it helps a lot for a lot of reasons. Chief among all is the energy. When we're lacking energy, I think we're much more easily manipulated, because there's something lacking. So somebody comes and they propose that they have a solution, and then we get swindled. Basically, we get hoodwinked, we get famoosed into whatever, manipulated. Okay, when you have a lot of energy, it's like your brain works better, so you can see through the bull crap. People are trying to manipulate other people. It's Machiavellianism. It's happening all around us, especially in government. Okay. Government, whatever, media, whatever, entertainment, whatever. It's all the same, probably the same people that own all of it. Everything on the TV is owned by a small group of people at the very top. And it looks like different corporations and all this stuff. But if I saw one guy, he did an algorithm on all the companies and how they all own each other, BlackRock's and all these different companies. They all own each other. So it's like, who owns the whole thing? Probably a very small group of people at the very top. Okay. We probably never even heard of or heard their names. We don't know who they are. Ultimate conspiracy theory, right? Yeah. Well, just logically think about it. How else would it be? It's definitely the case. I don't care what anybody says. It's definitely the case. There's a small group of people that control everything, and we most likely don't even know who they are. All the ones we know about probably are just the front men, okay? What is the agenda of this small group of people? It's power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They have the absolute worldly power, the financial power, whatever. Okay, it's only on Earth. There's way more than this, in my opinion. But what is their agenda? It's to have more power. Which, how do you exert power over people? You need them to be confused, weak, tired, depleted. Especially for the men. I'm talking to the men, but also the women. Men create semen. Women don't. When we expel semen, it takes a lot of energy to make the semen, okay? So when it's gone, we've lost all of that biological productivity that our body had to go through to make the semen. It's full of all kinds of, I don't know the whole list. I need to find this list, but there's a whole list of lecithin and testosterone, zinc, and all these minerals and things in the semen that we lose every time we ejaculate. I just saw a really good one from, what's his name? Ancient Archives. He's one of my channels I really like. I just saw a video from him. He was talking about how semen retention could possibly extend your life, like by years, literally years. You could potentially live years longer, okay? There's no currency except time. All major civilizations have risen up and fallen at some point in history, okay? Most likely the ones that we have today will eventually crumble and other ones will take over, whatever. And all their currencies are bunk. They're worthless once the country's done, okay? Our US dollar is becoming less and less valuable as we go, very quickly, because of inflation, because of printing dollars from the dollar printing machine. Whoever owns that, I don't know who they are, Rockefeller, Rothschild, whatever. You hear these names, who cares? It's somebody. They own that machine. They can print $100 bills whenever they feel like it. And that when there's a bigger supply, the demand goes down. Is that the right use of the term? It just makes each dollar worth less than it was. The most recent figure I heard is every 36 days, our dollar is losing 1 cent of value. So, do the math. $100,000 is not the same $100,000 it was in the 80s. Now, in 2026, is not. You can't buy the same thing you could with $100,000, okay? But most people are still making the pay rate that my parents made back in the 80s. It's ridiculous, dollar for dollar. But the inflation means it's worth less. I'm a little fired up because it's annoying because basically we're becoming more and more enslaved without realizing it. It's like the frogs in the pot, that cliche, you boil it slowly. They don't realize, so they don't jump out until it's too late and they're cooked. That's what's happening. 1 cent every 36 days lost from the dollar. Okay? So, I don't know what to do about it. I'm not saying that. I don't have some solution, although we could probably speculate on what to do. I'm talking about semen retention. What does the individual man do? And woman. Because if you have a man, you need to realize this too, because girls, we all want sex. Men want sex, girls want sex. Let's quit playing this stupid game. Guys want it more than girls. That's ridiculous, especially nowadays. We can see that. Now with the female sexual liberation, women are going out, they're having incredible body counts. You can watch shows like whatever, It's Complicated, all these interview on the street things, and girls will just admit, Fresh and Fit and all these, they admit they've got like 100 bodies, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 bodies. It's insane. The enemy of happiness is comparison. So how are you ever going to be happy with a life partner if you've had 1,000, you got that 1,000 cock stare, you know what I'm saying? It's not exciting anymore. It's like, anyways, the women need to help the men too, because you guys are the ones that tempt us to let it go. So if you've got a man, you're married, your boyfriend, whatever, fiance, realize that every time he nuts, he loses a little bit of life. What do they call that? There's a French expression, petit mal or something, the tiny death, the small death. Every nut is a small death. And Ancient Archives was making a really good point about this. He wasn't advocating for, eunuchs, where you get your nuts cut off, castration, like they did with the castratos back in Italy to make their voice stay high so they could sing in the choir. That's like so effed up, I can't even imagine. But that's been done through history. It's being done now, transgenderism. Okay? Those guys, on average, according to this Ancient Archives video, he was saying that they live longer, like something like 15 years longer back in the day when that was practiced by kings and stuff, just outright. The eunuchs would live to like 60, 70 maybe, where everybody else was dying at like, 40s and maybe 50s. So they're just getting like 10, 15 years more life, which, he did the math and it was something like 30% more life. Say what? So like nowadays people live to the average of 76. But imagine 30% more on top of 76. So that's, what is that? I can't do the math in my head, but it's something like, what is that, 21 years? 21 years, 22 years more life, 22 years more life. The ultimate currency is time. It's time. It's not money. Money comes and goes. Time is tink, 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 ticking away. Tick tock. What was that? What was that Dexter guy? Tick, tick, tick. That's the sound of your life running out. So, but now, we all want to make more money, but what about more time? Literally time. Time is the currency of life. It measures the life that we have. Imagine if you could have another 15, 20 years. Just put some money in a regular old index portfolio. You know, what are they called? Just a standard. Can't think of the term, but you know, just a regular index fund. That's it. Index fund. It's like 7% to 10% on average per year, compounding over 20 years. Whatever money you put in there, it exponentially increases. That's insane. You got another 20 years to do that. Or you work your whole life to retire, which is like a modern concept. I've seen a lot of people talking about this. Nobody used to retire. You just worked until you died. And also, people that retire, typically, especially men, don't live very long after they retire because you get bored, bro. What are you gonna do? Watch soap operas all day? They're so boring. So boring. Soap operas, please. Price is Right, all this crap. The Bible says Moses walked up the mountain. I forget which mountain it was, right when he died. He was 120. It said his eye was not dim, and it said nobody helped him up the mountain. So he was able to walk up a mountain at 120 years old, look out over the promised land. He couldn't go in because they screwed up. They were grumbling in the desert for 40 years, so he wouldn't let him in, but he got to overlook it. And he was still able to see and walk up a mountain at 120. I wonder if he was practicing semen retention. I have a good feeling he was, because I think the Bible, in addition to other religions, are talking about it directly and indirectly through parables and just directly. It says, "Don't spill your seed. Don't waste your seed on the streets." You know, don't hook up with harlots. Don't go with whores. That's what the prodigal son did. He took his inheritance and spent it on whores and lavish lifestyle and didn't invest it. That's been my problem most of my life. Just spending things, spending the principal. You're not supposed to spend the principal. You spend the interest, part of the interest, and let it grow. Don't touch the principal. I'm working on that. I'm starting to watch Charlie Munger. He talks about this. There's a lot of guys talk about this, but if you get $10,000 invested, it starts to grow for you. I forget what he said, 10,000, 20,000, or 30,000, something like that, 40,000. But basically, once you get to $100,000, even in today's money, your money will start to make more for you than your job does, depending on the job you have. So that's money. But what about compounded time interest? If you have quality time versus non-quality time, you are compounding in a progressive fashion. Progress, however small, increases my self-esteem. I'm not so unique. You know, we're all the same, basically. Progress gives us self-esteem. Discipline is how we progress. That's what gives self-esteem. The opposite is also true. Without discipline, we don't progress and we lose self-esteem. You feel less and less good about yourself, okay? I'm not talking about pride. I'm just talking about a healthy, humble appreciation for the gift that we're getting every single moment to be alive. And the point of this video, I'm advocating for more moments, possibly. More moments, possibly. If those guys back in the day were on average living to 50s or 40s and 50s, and then the eunuchs were hitting late 60s, 70s, now put it in today's terms, where most people live to 76 before they die of most often a heart attack. I've got a whole series on heart disease. And then also strokes. I've got a whole series on strokes, like what causes those and how to prevent those. Not a doctor, just saying. Diabetes, I've got one on that too. Diabetes causes a lot of deaths too, okay? It's all connected, okay? But basically, we want to be healthy. We want to enjoy life. And then a lot of people don't want to give up the pleasures. What I'm advocating for is the withdrawal of the indulgence causes sensation to rise. So if you have a more sensitive system, you derive more pleasure from simpler stimulus. Like this morning, okay, full transparency, today is day 14. This is after my best streak so far on the semen retention journey. I made it to 41 days. I lost it on day 42. Today's day 14. So if I can make it through today, I'm back on 2 weeks, okay? I feel solid. Please try it if you haven't done it, men. I don't know about women. I'm sorry. We make semen. Hold it in and see what happens. All that energy stays inside you and it invigorates everything, bro. Everything. It's like my dreams are insane. God talks to me in my dreams. So do demons. They're coming at you now. You're part of the battle. You're not just on the sidelines. Hum. Remember, what was that year everybody was talking about? Him, or what was that thing? Meh, that's it. MEH. I remember that. What was that, 2010 or something? Meh. Everybody's talking about that. Fuck meh. I was talking to my buddy I haven't talked to in years out in Hawaii. We were talking about a lot of stuff, but he said I haven't changed. We were talking about, he was saying I like to be moderate with things. I was telling him about semen retention. It's surprising to me, because I've been doing it for a while now, that most people have never even thought about this semen retention thing. He was saying, yeah, I can make it basically a week now in between. I'm like, oh, that's nice, and I said the ultimate goal is to never nut again until you are gonna have a baby. And he said, well, I'm a moderate kind of a person, and I don't want to get extreme about things. And I'm like, well, I'm an extremist, but being moderate is how we become extreme. So start off moderate, just like skip a day, you damn cooner. Just take 1 day off of a prawn. 1 day off a prawn. Don't, you know what I mean? And then if you can get a day, then do 2 days, and then 3 days, and you know what I mean? Progress. I'm hitting month streaks now, basically. Almost every time I'm hitting right around a month, several months in a row now. Last one was 41. Baby, I'm going for 60 this time. I want to try and hit 90 if I can. Really, I want to never do it again, but that's the ultimate goal. That is the extreme. And I'll allow myself concessions along the way, as long as I'm progressing. That's the key. I am progressing. My streaks are getting longer. And I've got the proof. I keep track. Okay? Now, the possibility of having more time in life is so intriguing, because if you really boil it all down, that's the ultimate currency. Even the richest people on the planet, they only have so much time. And then you start to get older and you become like Brian Johnson. You start spending millions of dollars to try and have more time on this planet. Let alone the quality of your time. The quality of your time. Go ahead and nut and tell me how you feel afterward. You might have a little bit of euphoria for a little bit, but the prolactin. The prolactin kicks in. You lose your libido, depending how old you are and your state of health. It depends how long it takes your libido to come back after the prolactin wears off. But if you just retain, you don't have to go through that up and down, kind of like a period, like a male menstrual cycle almost. Like they lose an egg once a month, we lose this, you can nut multiple times a day. So females live longer. Statistically, it's borne out, although that's changing. You guys are starting to get heart attacks and stuff because of you're working like us. Stressful, menial, repetitive, taking it from the boss kind of jobs now. That's all good. Double the tax base. But I think women still outlive men. They don't nut. I mean, they don't lose semen. Interesting. There's other factors, I'm sure, but we can also see the eunuch thing. Okay, so this is where discipline comes in. Are you going to give in, or are you going to resist temptation? The first few days are the hardest. Because you have the inertia of whatever it is you're hooking up with random strangers on the street or in the bars or whatever, or you're looking at things you shouldn't be looking at on movies too, not just prawn itself, but movies, Instagram, Tinder, all these half naked. It stimulates the lust factor. You start thinking about it. You start lusting. That's the problem, is the lust. There's nothing wrong with sex. God made sex. Lust is the problem. Lust. Essentially, it's like witchcraft. Witchcraft is worshiping the creation over the creator, like worshiping nature or the spirits over the creator. Are you stupid? The creator made all that. And I'm not saying that stuff's not real. I'm not saying nature's not real. I'm not saying spirits aren't real. I'm saying something created all of that. The ultimate creator, God, is the one we're supposed to worship. Nothing created. He tells us that. And this is where witches get it wrong. And I think lust is really akin to witchcraft. You're worshiping the creation over the creator, the shape, my lovely lady lumps, which were biologically created to be attracted to. The problem is lust, just like fiending over it like a golem, okay? So let's give it up, try it out, go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and work on it, man. And then once you start hitting a week, really the week, I've said this over and over again in all the videos, day 7 is like, whoo, a whole nother level. Testosterone's up, you feel it, okay? I think probably at any age, 1 week, if you can make it a week, come on, man, try and get a week. You'll feel it. And then you don't even need to listen to me or anybody else. Go make your own videos, dude, and everybody start talking about this. It's real. I'm on week 2, basically, day 14. Whew, man. It's almost hard to contain. It's hard to sleep at night because I have so much effing energy. It's awesome. It's awesome, but I wake up at 2:45 in the morning. Wide awake. I have to force myself to try and fall back asleep because I'm like, and it could be the coffee. You know, people say it's the caffeine, but I've been drinking coffee the whole time, okay? So that's a baseline. Nothing's changed with that. I've actually decreased my caffeine intake. So now what? What do you think now? Try it. Try it. Anyways, guys. Love you guys. Seriously, please try it. I don't know you, you're some random stranger on the internet, but we're all related. We're all one family, one love, one life. Okay? Try it, man. Okay? And girls, help your man. Don't tempt us with those lovely lady lumps. Cover them up, man. I'm not talking about Sharia law and all that stuff. That seems a little bit extreme. I've seen some videos of ladies with their faces burnt off and stuff for not wearing their, what's the thing? The hijab thing. So, and I'm not saying all of those people are like, I'm not saying that, and I don't know the whole thing. I'm not trying to pretend like I know, but I saw a thing, they were talking about this with pictures and stuff, so, that seems extreme to me, but I understand kind of the principle of what they're saying. It's like, women, please stop tempting us. It's like, the modern woman is dressed more scantily clad than the whores were in the 80s. It's like, they're naked, man. You guys are walking around naked. These leotards that are like sucked up in every crevice. It's like skin colored. I'm like, bro, sis, what the F, man? You gotta avert your eyes so you don't start lusting. Yoga pants, all this crap, man, I'm serious. It's insane. So young men, old men, enough already, man. We need to avert our eyes. What was Job said, I determined to never look at a maiden with lust in my eyes ever again. That's badass, okay? But remember what happened to Job. Once you get really righteous, then you can actually get the harder tests of all. He lost his whole family and everything. All of his wealth, his health, everything. But he never denied God, and he got it all back. I forget how many fold, but it was multiplied. He had more sons and daughters than he ever had after he stayed faithful, stay the course. That's our job. That's what Job did. And anyways, love you guys. Peace, blessings, deep breath. Hold in your semen. See what happens. You're going to get a ton of energy, bro. A ton of energy. Anyways, bye guys.